And somebody on the worship staff walking in the tunnel looks up and just sees me and waves. And I was like, so I come down to explain, like, you know, I probably look like a fool. And her name's Macy. And I was just like, I'm so sorry. I'm going through this, and here's what I was feeling at the time. And she said to me, you know, Joel, I actually had one of those moments not too long ago, and I felt like God was saying, it's time you felt these feelings. And it's okay. And I was like, starting again. And I was like, oh God, you got to get it together, man. And so, you know, I get in my car and I get back to the apartment. But at that time, I felt like it had been 11 years. And any time that I would talk about my dad, I would tell stories. But I would be so angry behind the scenes. Behind the curtain in my brain where not a lot goes on, I was angry. And I'm doing this whole thing on a Sunday talking about how, you know, when my dad died, I felt alone, but I knew that God was with me. And in the back of my mind going, no, you didn't.
Right. Yeah.
You didn't feel like God was with you. You felt alone and you know it. Stop lying. And I was like, ugh. But I learned something in that moment too, was that I'm not just saying these words to them. I'm saying these words to me.
Yeah.
You need to know that God was there with you that whole step. And I was like, well, okay, I'm okay with that. But when I was up there and I was weeping, I felt like I was holding on to this anger, and I always like put it in my mind like it's a water bottle, because that's what I had with me. And I felt like God just reached over my shoulder and he just put his hands on it and he said, hey, you've been mad long enough. Let me just take this and let me just yanked it out of my hands. And that's when the floodgates came out. And so I think, as somebody who is going through grief, you can check in on them, but I was only going to, and you were only going to tell people so much.